While we look here at Quick Step, Paul, those boys up front have pegged this breakaway for the moment. This 107, they're holding it. They might catch them at around about 10 or 11 kilometers to go, but they are still showing a great deal of defiance. But what worrying me at the moment is the fact that here at the finish, the rain clouds are getting closer and closer. It's becoming quite dark.
The rain clouds are getting very heavy, and that could make the big difference coming into town, because that's basically where we ate last night, right in the heart of this town of Vitré, and where we had dinner was a very tricky roundabout. The riders are going to have to negotiate at about 3 kilometers to go. They've tried to clean it up. They've taken out some of the directional islands, but to me, it's going to be a very tricky run-in for the main field. The main field really, I feel, need to catch these riders before 8 kilometers to go. Otherwise, it's going to be very dangerous. There's a problem at the back here. This looks like Jimmy Casper's had a problem.
Not again. This man always gets problems at this stage of the race.
It's definitely not the time to have a flat tire inside 15 kilometers to go. But as far as Jimmy's concerned, it doesn't matter. He's won his Tour de France so far, because he's going to go away with the stage victory under his belt.
Yes, he got the day 1 road race victory. Stage 1, day 2 of the Tour. He was right on it. First time he's won a stage of the Tour de France, and he beat all of the recognised sprinters to the title. Well, that's going to give him all the drive he needs to see Paris this time around. He's left the race in tears before injured. He's finished last in the race twice, what we call the Lanterne Rouge, the red light of the race. And now he's had the misfortune to have a puncture, but at least it's not like Zabel the other day, who punctured in the sprint and he was out of it. Approaching the line.
Better off having it at 15 kilometers to go than 1.5 kilometers to go when everybody's traveling along at 50 kilometers an hour. But just yesterday, Phil, I saw some excerpts of a new IMAX movie which was released just before the start of the Tour de France. It's called Wired to Win, and a lot of it features the suffering of Jimmy Casper in that Tour de France, where, if you remember back to that tour, he rode the first few stages with a big collar around his neck because he was involved in that first stage crash that took out Levi Leipheimer.
That's right, and he did very, very well. In fact, the people that made that film said what a gracious character he was to cooperate with them when he was obviously in terrible pain. Well, the lights are on now because it's getting quite dark here at the finishing line. I hope that no storm hits this race before they come home, because over what is actually a cobbled approach to the town of Vitré, they will become like an ice rink if it does rain down there.
Axel Merckx just over to the other side of the road there, riding at the front, looking after Floyd Andis. Cofidis have dropped back 3 riders here to try and pace their man Jimmy Casper to the rear end of the main field. They're going to have to take a lot of risks now to move over on the right-hand side of the road and try and get their sprinter up to the front. Casper wasn't too far off yesterday. He crossed the line in 14th place in that rather chaotic sprint to the line, where the man who got the best of everybody was Oscar Freire. Just look at how Tom Boonen rides at the front. He floats around with hardly any energy at all.
Half a minute the gap. And as the peloton races here towards the line, I have to say it is getting darker and darker. And we don't rain now would cause chaos in this peloton, and it might, of course, aid the escape of the 3 riders who are now less than 30 seconds in front.
And however, they are 2.5 kilometers from coming into the outskirts of Vitré, and they will be realizing that. They will know that. The team manager will have given them that information. They will hope to survive into the outskirts of town, because with the road starting to dampen a fraction now, been very hot for the last few days. When you get a small covering of dampness on a surface like this, it makes it treacherous. It turns a good racing road into an ice rink.
As Magnus Bagstedt there now begin to wonder, what am I doing in this breakaway? Are we going to succeed or not? No one allowed in the gap now, apart from the odd referee on the motorbike and the policeman who guide the race around France. 17 seconds is the gap. They can't possibly survive, but they're not going to stop trying. Look at the face of Johan van Summeren, trying to get these riders up to the leaders because they want the sprinters to have their say on the eve of the time trial.
And do you know what he's thinking about? He's thinking about one thing. Oh, my back hurts so much, but Robbie's going to take over. Robbie's going to do it for Team Davitamon Lotto, for Belgium and for Australia, because the Belgians have really adopted Robbie McEwen here. He conducts his interviews after the finish not only in Australian but also in Flemish, and pretty well too.
Yeah, well, he's got a Flemish wife, Angelique. I'm sure if he gets it grammatically wrong, she'll put him right when he gets home. This is now the French champion on the right. What a way for the French champion to bring the race towards Brittany here today. Riding in the leading group. When the camera pulls back, it's always the sign of doom, because underneath come the head of the peloton now. A lot of riders want to be near the front but not on the front. And look at the difference of the movement in the peloton now as they try to reposition. Brad is not going to give up. Look at him go.
Look at his face. It's got anger and anguish written all over it. At the same time, looks over his shoulder. Well, you can't see round the corner there. That will give him a little bit of hope, because he can't yet see the front end of the main field. He'll say, we'll push it a bit more. We'll try and survive until we get into town. If we get into town, it might get confusing. We might survive. But this is a very long drag. It's Team Lampre on the front now, trying to sort it out for their man Bernardi.
Well, they've also got Alessandro Ballan, who was up there yesterday now, and Jens Voigt is in there looking at the computer. He also is getting a high heartbeat right now as he tries to get a little bit excited. Maybe we've seen pictures of Stuart O'Grady today looking a lot more relaxed with his broken vertebrae. Maybe he's feeling a bit better.
Salvatore Commesso, the man with the beard on Team Lampre, over to the right-hand side, getting back into the line. These guys will not give up. Look at the face of Bra here, just looking in front of him to see if he can see the top of this climb. Doesn't look like a climb to you sitting at home in front of the TV, but this has dragged up now for around about 1 kilometre. It's down now, Phil, to 40 metres. Then it'll be 30, then it'll be 20, then it will be all over.
And then it'll be 10 seconds the other way, because I doubt these boys will hold on to the peloton now once they come to the top of this climb. We are running into the last 6.5 kilometres now to the finish. They might just get to see the 5 kilometre banner if they are lucky, but after that they'll be in the heart of the pack here. A little bit of concern from us, because we know that the centre of Vitré is very narrow and quite dangerous, and let's hope they can get through Vitré. Then it becomes a fabulous approach to the line.
Well, it's looking good for an organised chase through town, because one team, Team Lampre, has decided this afternoon we're going to string it all out. They had all of their men at the front. They are thinking about the big man who was caught out in that crash at 4.5 kilometres to go yesterday, Daniele Bernardi. But these three men, Phil, they know the main fielder behind them. The main fielder at only 35 metres, but they will not give up.
Well, they're also making the other teams chase. I mean, Magnus Bagstedt has a guy on the team, Luca Paolini, who could win this race in the sprint, and if he's forcing the others to chase him, then they're taking the pressure off Paolini, who will only follow. So there's still tactics to be played, even if the catch is almost done and dusted. 11 seconds is the gap now, coming down rapidly. 8 seconds. The riders in the peloton now, they're getting near the top of their stress levels, and they're getting near the top of their maximum heart rates. These boys in mauve and blue are racing for two riders, two sprinters. Ballan and Daniel, I forgot his name. Thank you very much.
Daniel Bernardi crashed yesterday, 4.5 kilometres to go. Big long line, but this big long line is organised, yet they cannot close down the last 30 metres of those three leaders. Once they get caught, they will get probably squeezed straight out of the back of the pack. Now it's Geslin. Look at the way his shoulders are rocking and rolling. There's not much power left in his body anymore. There's a little bit left in those thighs. They look over the shoulder. Sorry, guys, we're not going to survive. But you know what? If you want to win the stage this afternoon, you come to us, because we're not going to wait for you.
Well, can you believe it? 4.5 kilometres from the line. The peloton have done it again. They've caught all the fugitives of the day. Oh, well, they haven't quite, but they will by 4 kilometres, and then we're all together. A mass charge through Vitré, and that's not for the nervous, I can tell you, as you'll see in a moment. And then out for away from the railway station, steady climb, a sharp right, sharp left, and then we're heading out towards the finish. And Florent Bras says, catch me if you can.
Well, I'm the French national champion, bleu, blanc, rouge, red, white and blue. I am not going to give up. If you want to sprint and take the glory on this stage of the Tour de France, come and catch us. This has been an interminable chase. They've been at 35, 40 metres for the last couple of kilometres, and Team Lampre are now getting themselves organised at 4 kilometres to go. And 3 kilometres to go is the nasty circuit that the riders will have to go through.
This is the first time this tour we've seen a chain of riders from the same team on the front. They must be confident. There is the catch now at 4 kilometres from the finish. What a great effort by those three. Hang on in there, boys. Stay with the peloton. But it's interesting to see the Quick Step and Lampre are the two teams getting this together. Bonan on the right, Hushoff on his wheel. Of course, we won't see Robbie McEwen for a while yet.
Well, Robbie McEwen is about to take off his cloak, the cloak of Harry Potter, the one that makes you invisible, but he will appear at 150 metres to go. Lampre have got this organisation with a certain amount of help now coming from Quick Quick-Step. They need to keep it fast. They need to keep it in a long line, otherwise it's going to get very dangerous. They're looking now at around about 3.5 kilometers to go. This is the drag up through the center of Vitré. There is the indication. Vitré is where we are. There is 3 kilometers to go. Now it's organized. Now this is going to be a good sprint. Keep it long, keep it straight and safe.
Well, this is where they cross the center of the square here now, with the railway station on the right. It gets a bit of cobblestones as they start to go up towards the line now. And Tom Bonan has got control of things. That's the area where the railway station is now as we start the climb. Bonan has moved up here now nicely onto the place. But watch out with Lamprey. They're confident today.
They're feeling good. They've got the organisation. When a team works for you like this, it puts responsibility onto the shoulders of the sprinter. The pale blue jersey on the wheel of Tom Bonan there is David Kopp. He was right up in the sprint there yesterday. Round the corner nice and safely. They've got through town without too much of an incident. Tom Bonan is riding right up at the front end of the main field, but it's the Lamprey squad for Daniele Benati who are thinking about it here this afternoon. But Boonen will rely on his last men to try and lead him up to the line. He'll rely, of course, on men like Posato. He'll rely on men like Matteo Tossato to try and get him up to the last 300 or 400 meters. Then he will try and unleash his sprint. It's not worked so far this tour. It might work today.
Well, they've just gone under the 2 kilometers banner there as they race towards the line now. And Lamprey still have control of this, which is a good sign. We haven't seen a train of the right team do this at all week, but now they're looking good. I've just seen Luca Paolini in the lime green jersey popping in and out of our picture. David Kopp is the first time in that light blue jersey to the right. Watch him, he packs a very good sprint finish, and he got it into action yesterday. These boys now, a lot of pushing and shoving further down. Desperation moments here now, because a lot of riders have been caught out of position.
The pushing and shoving is to get onto the wheel of Tom Boonen. They're all up there trying to fight to get onto Boonen's wheel. They feel he's got the confidence here this afternoon. He wants to win in the yellow jersey. 85 on the front, Salvatore Commesso, a 2-time Italian national champion, not thinking about victory himself, but thinking about Daniele Benati. There is the green jersey, Robbie McEwen, right down at the bottom of the picture in around about 20th place, but he's got alongside him here at Stegemans. Wait for it, wait long and hard on this course, because this is a very long finishing straight. It's around about 2 kilometers. They're looking in front of them. They will see the banner over the road, which is 1 kilometer to go. But Phil, this kilometer is going to be interminable.
Well, I'll tell you what, McEwen is deep in the depths of this peloton. He's going to have to move up pretty quickly now at 800 meters to go, because Quick-Step have got Bonan right up there now. Frere is on his wheel, Hushoft is on his wheel, but McEwen is a little bit washed away at the moment. Now the launch for the line being done by Tom Bonan's Quick-Step team on the far right. Watch out for the all-green arrival of the jersey of McEwen. An awful lot of work to do yet. Looking over his shoulders, and they've made Lamprey take up the running for Daniel Benati and Balan, but still no sign of McEwen. Hushoft has got the wheel of Bonan. As they come up, Zabel is in there trying to win on his birthday. He's got Bonan's wheel. Bonan leaving this at 500 meters, 300 meters to go. And now the lead out to try and take Benati. Here comes the run for the line though, and he's bringing McEwen for him. Gert Stegmans made the mistake yesterday. He's just launched McEwen at the line. McEwen is going to win this again, and Bonan has made another mess of it. Robbie McEwen has done it again. I don't believe it. That man is something else.
Well, he was so far down with about 500 meters to go, I thought he'd made a mess of it, but alongside of him he had Gert Stegemans. He waited, he knew this was a long sprint, he knew you had to wait until the last minute. When he saw the gap, he said, Stegemans, go, 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 and that's when Stegemans went. He was straight on his wheel, he came up past everybody. Boonen again making a technical mistake in the middle there, getting boxed out by Jimmy Casper. Look at his face there, Robbie McEwen. This is the win. He really is having a ball.
Messed up yesterday. We got it perfect today. Stegmans again, just he starts his engine and takes off, and nobody who's doing a lead out for their sprinter has got an answer to his power. I don't think the other sprinter's got an answer to his power. I just sit there, I even backed off him again and just went on the inside of him, and even though I felt like I was starting to slow, I just was so wound up. And number 3, there we go.
As opposed to mistake number 5 for Tom Boonen, flicking away from his line and losing momentum in the scrabble for position. Never really in contention, and clearly annoyed as he crossed the line. There's confirmation of the result. McEwen ahead of Daniele Benati, who's now been 6th, 5th, 4th, 3rd and 2nd. So he must be due a win himself, if only at poker.